So I have a little bit of explaining to do. We have totally finished renovating our kitchen. We've been finished, we've been living with it for a while, and honestly, the space has transformed a little bit since the last time I talked to you guys. For those of you new here, my partner Tyler and I renovated our entire kitchen. In fact, we're working on our entire house here in New Orleans. It's a very old home, it was previously abandoned, a lot of work needed to be done to it. We're still doing a lot of work to it, and I'm trying to post the entire process along the way. So welcome if you're new, welcome back if you're not. In this video, I'm going to be walking you through the entire kitchen. I will be showing you all of the fun little details that make it a kitchen that we love. We did all of the work ourselves. It took us, honestly, like a year and a half to get it to where we really felt done with it, to the point where we're like, okay, there's really nothing else that we can do to this kitchen renovation wise to make it feel complete. So yes, it has been a lot of time, but honestly, I feel like that is an accurate representation of what it's like to renovate a space, especially if you're doing it yourselves. Oftentimes with a smaller budget that you have to save for, these things take time. So yes, in this video, I'm going to be walking you through our entire kitchen, giving you our thoughts, and at the very, very end, I will be sharing exactly how much everything cost. I feel very proud to share that figure, and I will be sharing it at the end of the video, especially because while we were doing the project, I feel like I was frantically taking pictures of receipts and like logging things as best as I could. So I'm really excited to share that figure with you guys because I feel like it shows an accurate understanding of how much things cost. I mean, a lot of the design decisions that we made were based on affordability and accessibility and the fact that we could do it ourselves, etc. So I will be sharing that at the end of the video. Be sure to stick around for it. But for now, let me show you our kitchen. So when you enter our kitchen, it's basically one long rectangle. The hallway is right here, so you turn immediately to the left, which is our coffee area. I'm really happy that we decided to place our coffee area here because it allowed for us to place our oven down below. And that's actually one of our biggest concerns that we had whenever we were designing our kitchen, is whether or not the oven being across the room from our stove would be problematic in any way, if it would make us any less likely to use the oven. And I'm very happy to report that it has been a non-issue. So that was like a huge relief to live with this for a while and realize that actually is no big deal, that this is across the room from our stove. That was like design, like concern number one. That being said, this is where our coffee bar is. I honestly love it so much. I love that it's separated from the rest of the kitchen. Not only that, but we have our pantry here, which is nice. Same concern as the oven. I was wondering when we were designing the space if it would be too far, but it's been fine. Really not a big issue at all. And something I added at a later point was this little shelf here on the side of the oven, and I just felt like storage was needed, additional storage. So any opportunity where I can add a shelf or just an extra area to store things is really appreciated and needed. I feel like I'm still trying to figure out a lot of storage solutions and just like better, like efficiently storing things in a way that's more accessible. So adding this little shelf was definitely a must. Something else that we also added kind of in the middle of things, and it wasn't necessarily the plan from the get-go, is this shelf here. Again, kind of just emulating the same thing about additional storage being needed. That was kind of a thought that I had was, let's add another shelf here. And actually, I have a mind to add another shelf on top of this, but in the future, if we decide we need more space, I feel like that's always an option. Something else that I really love about this coffee bar is that we actually have a calendar here that is duck themed. I love to look over and see it. I was kind of sad because I was going to the end of the calendar, obviously with it being December, and I was worried that I wasn't going to find as cool of a calendar next year. But the artist, and I will link them below, made a 2026 version of this calendar. It's literally famous paintings but ducks, and I love that. So I bought a 2026 version that I will be putting up. I will link that down below for you guys if you're interested. I love it. It's so funny. It definitely brings me so much joy. So when it comes to our pantry, we knew that our pantry would be next to our oven, as I stated, and actually all of our cabinetry is actually from a local big box hardware store, right off the shelf, prefabricated. Many of you know that already, but for those of you who are new, that's a decision that we made for cost and also for time. Tyler and I have gone back and forth with this over time since we've lived with this space for a while. And honestly, no regrets there. I feel like they've held up pretty fine. It definitely would have been a lot better built and better quality if we had built them ourselves, which is something that Tyler's talked about wanting to do. But to be quite frank, a lot of the decisions that we made in our kitchen at the time of designing them and actually renovating them are decisions that made sense for us at the time, and we just didn't have time. So I'm pretty happy with it. I think by compromising, by building our own drawer and cabinet door fronts was the way to go. I feel like it gave us the custom look that we wanted without the price tag. And then not only that, but the hardware that we picked was very intentional. We were really going for like an unfit kitchen. Think Molly Weasley's kitchen, except less cluttered, I think was my goal. If someone were to visit our house and walk into our kitchen, they would not think that everything around in the kitchen is brand new. I really wanted people to walk into our space, for us to walk into our space, and for the design to feel organic to the area and the time that the house was built. So with all of that being said, that is why we decided to go with the door fronts that we went with. And also too, someone asked in one of our previous videos, how were we able to install the doors fronts so straight, especially as planks of wood? And for that, I want to share a joke that I sometimes will make where I'm just like, we'll sit here and it doesn't even have to be cabinet related. Like, we could be building a door frame and you can sit here and you can make your door frame a perfect 90-degree angles. You can make it perfectly straight. You can pick the straightest boards of wood from the hardware store. And then when you go to install it, something is slanted, something is not straight. And I feel like that is just the nature of an old house. There lies my joke. This kitchen is not totally old because obviously we just renovated it. But I like to joke. I'm like, oh, it's not straight. There's a little bit of a bigger gap here than there is somewhere else. It's an old house. What do you expect? It just makes me giggle. And that's usually what I come to with Tyler is I'm like, we can try our best to make it perfect, but the imperfections don't bother me. I feel like they give it more character. Okay, so now that I've shown you my pantry area, if you walk a little bit forward and then to the right, you have a very long stretch of cabinets. These cabinets, again, same thing, got them from the hardware store, painted them this very beautiful blue color, but you'll notice behind me that there is a dresser. I feel like this was a little bit of a risk to take. Whenever I was looking at inspiration photos for unfit kitchens, I was noticing a lot of cabinets being used. Typically they looked like wood colored, they were not painted. And that really inspired me to use a dresser myself in this kitchen. It was a really easy decision to make because our kitchen is very not complicated. It's literally an L shape. We were able to use a dresser here instead of buying more prefabricated cabinets. And yeah, the actual process of finding it was not that complicated. I went on Facebook Marketplace with rough dimensions towards like what size I wanted it to be. And I feel like the Facebook gods were on my side during that time because I found this thing within like a week of looking. I think we drove maybe an hour to go get it and we paid, I want to say like $200 for it. Worth it. Honestly, worth it. It's definitely so unique and it's one of those features that when people first walk into our kitchen for the first time, they comment on. And I feel like that goes to show how much it stands out and adds so much warmth to the space. Yeah, I truly love it. We sanded it and kept it kind of the original color. And I feel like it's added a lot of warmth to the space. I'm definitely really happy that we kept it this way. And also too, it's also the home of our cute little catfish. This is a catfish. I'm pretty sure it was crocheted that I put my little grocery bags in. And I think it's so cute that little catfish lives there year round. And I feel like it just has a random like cute little touch. Other than that, the other major thing about this area, obviously, are the countertops. Whenever we were designing our kitchen and talking about what countertops we were going to be using, it was a very, I've said this before, but it was a very easy decision to do butcher block. We were really intimidated by, well, first of all, not intimidated, but the cost of stone is pretty astronomical. And for us, it made the most sense to do butcher block, which is the tried and true method for people who are trying to stay on a budget. And honestly, I love them. I was really concerned about upkeep with them, but it honestly hasn't been that bad. They're pretty easy to clean. The color turned out beautiful. And yeah, installation wasn't that bad. This is something that I'm definitely really happy that we went with. Yeah, it just made the most sense for us at the time and has worked out really well for us. Okay, all of that being said, something else that Tyler and I talked pretty extensively about was keeping these uppers. These uppers are the only original part of the kitchen, like literally the only original part. Everything from the flooring to the ceiling, well, I guess the drywall, but truly, like, this is the only original thing in the kitchen. And they're a little aged, and I kind of love that about them. I feel like the opposite of what we wanted in this space were items that looked too new. So we very intentionally tried to make things match what we thought would be appropriate for the age and time period that this would be created in. So creating or keeping these cabinets were it was an easy decision. I honestly was on the fence for a little bit because I wasn't sure about them, but after painting them and wallpapering the back, I was like, you know what? I'm totally sold. So we kept them, and I love them. I feel like having this has provided so much storage for the space. They're definitely not perfect. They're not perfect in any way. You can see old holes, and you can see that it has layers of paint on them. And honestly, I kind of love that about them. I feel like, once again, embracing the imperfection of certain things just creates more character for the space, and it adds to just the overall feeling that we're trying to create in this space. So I'm definitely really happy that we kept them. It's definitely one of my favorite features of the room. I know I've said that before. I just finished talking about the dresser, but I feel like everything together just creates exactly what we're going for. So I'm really happy that we kept them. And also too, it provides like a little bit of an opportunity above the cabinetry to decorate and place things, which we've slowly been trying to do. Obviously, like even with some of the artwork that we have here, it's definitely, I don't know if I've ever said this before on the channel, but I feel like some of the most organically decorated spaces take time. Like I don't think that with room makeovers, I don't always feel like they are the most, I don't know. I guess what I'm trying to say is I feel like it makes more sense to decorate over time as you collect things that add value to your life, whether they look beautiful, maybe you spent a weekend thrifting and you found a piece of artwork that really spoke to you. So yeah, we're honestly just now in the last couple of months have started to hang artwork in this space and really identify where we can expand on things and like where we can add a piece of artwork. Yeah, kind of silly to say because we've been living with the space for a while, but I feel like that's how things go. Like designing a home takes time. And I also don't believe in just going to a store and buying a bunch of decorations. Like we try to be really intentional about the way that we decorate our space. So yeah, it may look a little bare bones at times, especially in the beginning, but you give people time to go out, find the trinkets, find the artwork that speaks to them, and allow them to fill their space with it over time. I feel like it'll look more authentic to, what they're trying to go for. Okay, so all of that being said, there are a few items that I have chosen to display on our countertops. One of them being this very beautiful tea box. I actually got this for Christmas from Tyler's parents 2 Christmases ago, I think at this point, and it's one of my favorite items. It's literally just a wooden box that I store tea in. It's been cool because since that Christmas, I've been receiving different teas that I can drink, and actually this past Christmas, I got Earl Grey's, so I'm super excited about it. I love having it on display, and I love drinking tea. I feel like this video is just a beverage video where I'm like, I love coffee, I love tea, but truly, I feel like a warm beverage during the winter, especially when you don't have heat in your home, has been so nice and cozy. Yeah, and then other than that, the other thing that I wanted to show you guys was my Mr. Bingle nightlight. So actually, I found this Mr. Bingle nightlight very recently. I want to say like 2 weeks ago, and it has been so cute. I've been contemplating whether or not I want to keep it up past Christmas. We'll see. I'm not sure yet, but I love him. He's so cute. Okay, so something else that we talked a lot about in the beginning, especially, is we were like in the middle of the room, we definitely want an island. That was something that we were really sure about from the beginning. And we found this island also on Facebook Marketplace for $100. It was a steal. It was someone moving out of New Orleans to another state. They were getting rid of everything they owned, and they decided to sell this. And it's a very beautiful, like butcher block esque island. It's actually made from reclaimed old barnwood from upstate New York. The person we bought it from bought it directly from the woman who built it. And yeah, it has been a pretty nice feature in our kitchen. It's really nice to have extra counter space. I also use it to store my pots and pot lids underneath. And it's definitely been a very beautiful feature. I'm really happy that we went with something like this. However, having lived with it for a while, I do feel like it's pretty difficult to clean. It's pretty difficult to clean, and that's just because I feel like the top needs to be refinished. Not only that, but actually Tyler built me this very beautiful piece of stone, and he made it for me from literally a piece of scrap stone in our yard. I feel like that goes to show how much stuff we have in our yard. But he made this stone where he like cut it down and polished it for me for our anniversary, which is really sweet of him. I actually love it because having a kitchen with butcher block, if you make any sort of dough or tortillas or anything like that and you want a nice stone surface, you don't have one, so having a stone piece like this is very nice. So this pretty much lives here permanently, and I use it to make bread or like cinnamon rolls, which is our Christmas specialty that we usually do for Christmas. And I'm so happy that he made this. I also feel like it adds a pop of color that you otherwise would not see in the space. And it's just so beautiful. It's actually so nice that when my mom came over, she was like, "Can Tyler make me one?" Which I found really funny because she also has butcher block countertops in her house. But yeah, he definitely could because we have scrap stone in our yard. God only knows what it was used for before, but it was like this pretty decent sized slab. That was definitely an offcut of something. But yeah, so we've had this honestly since we finished the kitchen, this countertop, and having lived with it for a while, like I said, I love having all of this counter space, but something that I'm very cognizant of is I feel like we really need a kitchen table. Tyler and I are just two people. In fact, we usually eat at our coffee table, which may sound crazy, but honestly, I feel like switching this out for instead a long table would really suit this kitchen. I mentioned that our kitchen is rectangular. It's very long, and I feel like having I think they're called sit-in kitchens if I'm not mistaken, where you have a long kitchen table would make sense. We're not sure yet. We're still on the fence. It's definitely something we would want to build if we did that. So let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. I feel like this is a nice working surface, but we have so much prep space on the sides. Would it be a mistake to get rid of this? I'm not sure. So that's something that we're still actively talking about. No decisions have been made. So on this side of the kitchen, we are on the short part of the L. So if I'm standing this way, I'm looking directly to the hallway. And this side of the kitchen, there's a lot going on. This is where the magic happens, as they say. We've got the refrigerator, the stove, and then directly to my left here, we have our beautiful farmhouse sink. We kept the original layout of this kitchen. We just obviously replaced everything inside of it. They originally had an L-shaped kitchen, and to be honest with you, I felt like the layout that they had really worked. They pretty much had the same layout as us in terms of where the stove and the sink was. The only difference is we decided to go for a induction stovetop, which meant it had a ripple effect to the design choices that we made. One of which I've already talked about earlier, which was the placement of our oven being across the room, which at the time, like I said earlier, was very worrisome for us, but has turned out really fine. Because we have an induction stovetop with a downdraft, there is venting underneath the stove. And because of that, like I said, you can't have an oven under there. So instead, that's where we put like our microwave and our air fryer, and various different things like that. So something else too that I was really keenly aware of and that I wanted to be intentional about was having cafe curtains. I felt like not having an oven under the stove was another opportunity to have cafe curtains, because I feel like typically you see them underneath the sink, which looks really cute, but I wanted another area. So I actually have matching curtains. They're Christmas themed because the time of year, but I have matching curtains underneath the stove and the sink, and it's worked really well. I feel like it adds a fun touch of personality, and obviously you can seasonally change them. The only downside is that I didn't think about is we have a new cat that we got recently. Her name is Bell Pepper, and she's extremely curious. So she, when we first got her, would go underneath the sink and kind of just sit in there. Just like an unexpected like paw will pop out when you're washing dishes because she'll be sitting under there, which is extremely sneaky of her. But that said, our kitchen sink is something else that I really love. It's got these beautiful ridges on them. We always knew that we wanted a farmhouse sink. I feel like farmhouse sinks have a stigma attached to them because of the modern farmhouse, like mid 2010s craze that occurred. But honestly, I feel like a farmhouse sink makes sense for our home. Not only that, but other than our dresser, it's like one of the other features that people compliment us on is, wow, your sink is, first of all, beautiful, but two, it's huge. And I totally agree. It was by design. We really wanted just one large area where we could wash dishes. I feel like it really works for us, and again, goes with the design. We don't have a dishwasher, so having a sink that inspires us to clean is extremely important. I feel like the funny thing about both Tyler and I is that we respectively did not grow up with dishwashers. I may have said this on this channel before, but we actually don't know how to use them. I don't know if we were like in the wrong tax bracket as kids. Our parents just never owned dishwashers, never had them in any of our rentals. I don't know. I mean, I'm sure we could learn today, but creatures of habit, we were just like, we really don't need a dishwasher. So one less appliance we had to buy. So we only have our sink. So yeah, it's this beautiful white color, same butcher blocks here. Installing both the sink and the stovetop were one of the things that made me nervous about installing butcher block, but it honestly turned out pretty great. Tyler did a phenomenal job cutting everything out and installing it, and it really wasn't that bad. Okay, I brought you a little bit closer because I did want to show you our very cool faucet that we have. We very much wanted to emulate like dishwasher at a restaurant, washing dishes. That's how we wanted to feel. It's really silly, but I really love the hose feature. I love how fancy it is, and also just the color really works. The thing that we really tried to go for in our kitchen were natural tones, wood tones, to really complement this blue color that we use, the two-tone blue. And yeah, I really love our faucet. It has worked great. I feel like it is the small things that bring you joy, and for me, it is our beautiful sink faucet. Okay, so rotating just a little bit from the sink, here is the corner of our kitchen. As you can see, we've got a very beautiful knife rack with a lot of pointy knives. I actually got gifted 2 of these knives from Tyler for my birthday, and it is extremely nice because you never, I don't know, we love to cook. We use our kitchen pretty much daily, and we were desperately in need of new knives. And so he bought me some knives for my birthday, so we display them here very beautifully. I love them so much. And then underneath here, I have this beautiful tortillero that I bought from, actually when I was in Mexico City last summer, I bought this one, and it is just this beautiful volcanic stone. I love it so much. I actually haven't used it yet because I actually have another one up on the shelf that I use more often. So I pulled this one out because I was like, I want to start using it. Yeah, I feel like it's like functional as decor. Obviously, it looks beautiful, but it's also very functional in the fact that I can use it to cook with, and that's really exciting. And then, yeah, behind me, we also have this beautiful lamp. I love kitchen lamps. I feel like it's so cozy to have lamps in your household, especially in the kitchen. I feel like oftentimes people make jokes about not being an overhead light household, but rather being a lamp household. And we're very much a lamp household. We also obviously could not talk about this corner without talking about the shelving. I've discussed the shelving on our channel before, but my idea for this space, especially because the ceilings are literally 13 feet tall, they're very tall. There's a lot of blank space above in the white area. So I wanted to install this shelving with cookbooks in mind, decor, candles, exactly as you see pictured. Obviously, nothing is ever completely perfectly styled. I'm sure my shelving will look different a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now. But for now, I just used what I had and I put a mixture of, decor, all of my cookbooks, this very old picture of my mother, and just like random things that I have to decorate the space. And I feel like it gives it so much warmth and character. It makes the difference between it feeling very stale and empty to feeling a little bit more lived in. And that's really what I love. And also too, it's fun to look over and see all of your fun cookbooks, feel inspired, and have them accessible. I feel like whenever I have books that are not seen, I forget that they exist. So that was also really important to me to hang or to have my cookbooks visible. Also, too, they're beautiful. I love to look over and see them, the colors and all. And then here, I have butter that I'm trying to bring to room temperature. I have it high up so my cats don't get to it. And yeah, I try to keep my countertops pretty clear. I feel like one of the most, well, not unexpected, but definitely one of the most joyful parts of having this room finished for me personally is that everything has a place and I'm able to put things away where they belong and just have the peace of mind that things are clean and not scary, because our old kitchen was scary. It truly made us feel very uncomfortable. We had tools everywhere. It was hard to find things. It was disorganized and chaotic. I could go on and on. It's such a breath of fresh air to have a space that's finished. And that's definitely something that I will never get over. I will never forget or take for granted just how much work it takes to bring a space from what it was before to what it is currently. I feel like I have so much more appreciation for the minutia of renovating and just how much time it takes. I don't know, not to get cheesy, but I truly am really proud of the work that we've done, and to be able to call this kitchen our own, it's very special. Turning corners again, here we have my induction stovetop. Like I mentioned, we have this beautiful pot filler. We weren't sure about pot fillers. I always looked at people's home tours with pot fillers and I'm like, your sink is literally 2 feet away. Why do you need that? And it seemed really silly, but we really came around because we have a water filtration system that we use and we have it connected to our pot filler. So not only do we have this to cook with, which is very nice and convenient, but we also have filtered water through this. So kind of a clever twist on the pot filler that really works for us. It was actually inspired both of our parents to get reverse osmosis systems installed in their households, which is really silly. But anyways, like I said, going back to taking time and collecting knickknacks and things that really have a lot of value for you, something that we have here is this very cute, I'm actually going to show you, this very cute strawberry. I got it from the Ponchatoula Strawberry Festival. I got it a couple of years ago by this local woman who does pottery, and I thought it was absolutely beautiful. It's a spoon holder. So we keep it here on display, not only for decor, but for practical functionality, which I think is awesome. And then other than that, you can see a few other things that we have here on the shelf. It's actually really funny because talking about how it takes time to collect items to decorate your space, this painting is something that Tyler's had from high school. I think he said he thrifted it when he was in high school. And for the longest time, we have had all of our artwork just kind of like stored in another room, not really looked at. And it's really been in the last like 6 months or so that we've really started to pull things out and actually think about decorating and sourcing things that we've collected over time and displaying them. And I feel like it's so nice to be able to do that. I feel like I've had the renovation brain for so long. So it's nice to be able to pull out a painting like this and yeah, really enjoy it versus just storing it. It's truly a privilege. So other than that, I do have another wall that is between two doors between the bathroom and our sunroom entrance here, where I basically just have a little bench. I'm not really sure what I'm going to do with this space yet. I put the little bench there just as a placeholder. My idea is either I do additional seating in place of the bench, or I do like a hutch of some sort. I feel like extra storage is always needed. So we'll see. I'm still trying to think through it. I'm not really sure yet what I'll pick, but yeah, I feel like in general, all of the decisions we've made, I still feel pretty confident about. Obviously, there's some things we didn't talk about here, like the flooring and then the beams that we built on the ceiling. And honestly, I still love the beams. I still love the choice of lighting that we chose. The flooring, I feel like it's done pretty well over time. We spent a lot of time sanding it and making sure that everything was pretty sanded down well. There were no ridges between boards. For those of you who don't know, we used, I think it's like 12 feet pieces of pine, and we just kind of screwed them down for wood flooring. And it was like an affordable wood flooring option that we went for. And it kind of gave it like a rustic look. I feel like it's done pretty well. I was talking to Tyler about this before I filmed this video, and him and I were talking about how, once again, going back to things warping and shrinking over time just with temperature changes, something that we would like to do for the rest of the house is to actually, instead of just using the boards like flattened like this, we would like to instead purchase tongue and groove flooring, just so that there is no opportunity for the ridges to occur over time. It's not terrible, but it's something that we noticed because we're the ones who installed it, and it's something that we worked really hard to try to avoid. So that's one thing to keep in mind with this type of flooring. But overall, I feel like it's done pretty well. So all of that being said, that is my kitchen here in New Orleans in my 100-plus-year-old home. I'm extremely proud of the work that my partner and I have done in this space. I feel like it has come out beyond what we dreamed of. I feel like anytime, especially as a novice, like designing a space, renovating a space, you have an idea of what things would come out like, but I'm truly impressed. I know we did the work ourselves, but I'm just extremely proud of how far we've come. I feel like if we look back at what the space used to look like, and then if you step into it now, it truly feels like a totally different space. And for that, I am extremely proud. All of that being said, I have my notebook here. I'm going to be sharing how much we spent, and drumroll please, the total amount that we spent for our kitchen with appliances was $15,974.02. Now, appliances took up $7,500 or so. The exact amount was $7,536.42. So without appliances, the total is $8,437.60, which is a good chunk of money. Total, almost $16,000. That's with appliances and all the materials. I mean, it's not bad. I feel like, I haven't gotten a quote for what this would be like, but I can imagine this would be upwards of like $40,000 maybe. I mean, if you consider labor, I don't know. I know we've never hired a contractor before, but I feel like for what the space is and for how long we worked on it, I feel like paying that much has totally been worth it. It's definitely, I feel like the kitchen is one of the most used spaces of home, one of the most valuable, and it's definitely a kitchen that we will use for our entire lifetime of being in this house. So yeah, that's it, guys. Thank you so much for watching. It really means the world that for those of you who have stuck around and seen all of our videos, and for those of you who are new, for you to take the time and watch our videos is truly means so much to myself and Tyler. So thank you so much for watching. Please consider subscribing if you're not subscribed already. We have a lot of exciting projects coming your way. In fact, we got a comment recently. I know I've been gone a while. I was reading my comments and someone asked, how do we manage storing our tools and keeping them organized? And that's a really good question, because here's a sneak peek to our next video, our next series that we're going to be posting, our next project that we've been working on pretty much for the entire of last year. We're building a shed. We're building a shed to organize all of our tools and address that very question. I feel like it has been a headache to keep up with organizing and finding all of our bits and bobs, especially when we don't have space for them. I mean, you guys have seen what our kitchen used to look like. If you imagine that for the front of the house, it is a mess, has been a mess. So yes, my next video, I will be posting our new shed. Well, our new shed project. It's going to be a good bit of work, but thank you guys so much for watching. I will catch you guys next time. Bye.